Hello, everyone, and welcome to another BW Virtual Table Talk. Today, I have with me my very good friend, Takeitha Chambers, who's going to be joining us for the virtual table. And I want to say welcome, Takeitha.
Hello, Felicia.
It's so good to have you on with me today. So today, we're going to be talking about keys to a successful marriage. Takeitha and I, we work together, and we often talk about everything. And so one of the things we do talk about is marriage. And for those of you who know the BW, we're all about women empowerment. We're all about being a better woman, but we're also about being a better wife. So today, Takeitha is going to share with us some tools that she have learned over the years that has helped her to be successful in her marriage. But before you get into that, tell us a little bit about how long you've been married and
Okay, so I have been married to my husband for 16 years.
Okay. So what are some successful tools that you have seen that have worked for you?
So, like I tell most people, marriage to me is not a one size fit all.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you having to find out what your partner desires, the things your partner desires,
Mm-hmm.
keeping God in the head of all things.
Yes,
Okay,
that's critical.
very important.
Yeah.
But I think the key to our success for the last 16 years has been communication. And I know that when communication becomes an issue, a lot of times relationships can just dissolve. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have had to learn how to intentionally communicate over these last 16 years.
That's the key word you said, intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree that anything we do to better our marriage, it has to be intentionally. I think so often that not that we want it to be that way, but because of our busy lives, that our marriages sort of go on autopilot. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Busy lives, working, children, and a lot of times I think in relationships, couples put the relationships on the back burner because they focus on all of those other things that are going on in your day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. And one of the things you said was communication. And I'm a big proponent of communication. I believe that if two adults can sit down and communicate, I'm even outside of a marriage, if two people can sit down and communicate, I think you can get past anything. Something that I often tell my husband is first of all, we have to communicate, but we don't have to always agree. Sometimes you can agree to disagree. But during the communication process, I think you get a better understanding of where your spouse is coming from. And so I think with understanding, that's what helps the marriage. Because I may not agree with you, but I understand you. You see where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I totally agree. And I do agree that it has to be intentional. You have to put the work in. I think we work hard on so many things. We giving 100% to our jobs, 100% to our kids, 100% to the church, and probably 10% to our marriages. And then somehow we expect for them to succeed.
Right.
Which is insanity.
Right. And I think communication changes too, because like I said, we've been married 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've changed over these 16 years. So for me, or for us, I would say the things that I desired 16 years ago may not be the things that I desire now. And so again, that's where that communication piece comes in, and you and your spouse being open to that type
Mm-hmm.
of dialogue as well.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. You do evolve over the years, but they won't know that if a conversation is not had, because they're not psychics.
Right.
Now, Takeitha, something that you and we argue about all the time, but we're going to bring it to the virtual table. We have talked about this. We've disagreed about it. We have even did a poll on Facebook about this. But I want you to tell the people, why do you feel, and one day me and Takeitha, we may do a question and answer Facebook Live session about this. But tell me, why do you feel that married people can be friends with the opposite sex?
Yes, Felicia. Somehow I knew you were going to ask me this question. So what I always tell you is, for me, and it has worked for me. And again, I say everything is not a one size fit all when it comes to relationships. And that is where I think it's important to communicate with your spouses and to know your spouses, and also to trust your spouses. And so we always have this debate a lot. And so again, I think even with, and I've said I have male friends, and my husband is well aware of that, because in the relationship, we've all become friends at some point. So it's not like I'm out hanging out with my male friends and my husband is not there, because usually we all coming together at a point. But I think the key to it is trust. I feel like my husband trusts me. And also I feel like even with my male friends, and I have a couple, they're married, and I know their wives really well. I mean, because we all hang out as couples sometimes too, but we've all met through us or whatever our common link was. But trust is a big factor. And so again, in communicating with my husband, because it's not like I'm having a friendship with someone and my husband is not aware of it, but I think that trust factor. And then I know the next thing is, you know, sometimes people have these ulterior motives.
Yes, they do, and that was my point.
Again, I know who I am and what I am to my husband, and I think that makes a difference too. I mean, in my experiences, I've never had, and I'm not gonna say I've never been approached by guys, but for my male friends, they have never crossed the line because they know how important my marriage is to me. So again, it may not work for everybody. And if I had a relationship where lines were crossed, then absolutely, you know, I wouldn't maintain every right.
And one of the things you just said, and I don't think you brought it before, maybe I didn't hear it before, that your male friends are married. So you don't have any single male friends.
No.
Okay.
No.
So would it be different if you had single male friends?
Well, at this point, I really don't have I don't even know that I have a lot of single girlfriends, maybe one single girlfriend, because I just think over time, everything changes and evolves. And so now most things that I do are like with other women that, you know, are married, because I feel like we're all on the same level sometimes of understanding. It's just different things I think that me as a married woman would do with a single woman. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you don't have any single male friends, and it wouldn't be different if they were single.
No, I don't have any single male friends.
Okay.
Clarify that.
Okay. But I do think if they were single, that it would be different. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna agree that okay.
We can agree on that one.
Okay, we can agree on that. So we're getting somewhere. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And I think when I made that statement, or when I was disagreeing with you, I was talking about single. I think it is a different dynamic when they're married also. And so,
like I said, and it's not like a relationship that we're having outside of our spouses. Sorry. So like we all come together.
Yeah. Got you. So I got another question for you. If you've been married 16 years, so if you can go back and talk to the Takeitha 16 years ago who first got married, what would you tell her? If you can go back and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give the younger, newly married Takeitha?
Well, I'm going to tell you a piece of information that my mother-in-law actually told me 16 years ago.
Come on, mother-in-law. Come with it.
When we first got married, because I will tell you this, typically from my side of the family, for whatever reason, the lifespan of marriages on my side of the family are not long. Okay. So going in, you know, it's just, I don't know, I've just been raised where there were not a lot of married couples in my family for me to role model. But one thing I always remember my mother-in-law telling me, I think me and my husband had a spat or something. But again, this goes back to communication. But she always told me, keep people out of your business.
Come through, mother-in-law, come through.
So whatever problems that you and Chris are having, then you need to work that out among yourself. Because I'm a big mama's girl. And so anytime somebody makes me mad, you know, I want to run and tell my mom everything. And one thing my mother-in-law said is, you know, when you and Chris have an argument and you running, you telling your mom, your sister, or whomever you're telling, they don't forget that. You are going on, you and Chris, y'all have forgiven each other and y'all are just going on about your business. Family members still remember the day you said XYZ. And so I would tell you that I think that has been huge in our relationship, is that whatever issues we're having, we need to work them out among ourselves before we invite all these other people in. So I think that is something going into this relationship or marriage I never would have thought of and not have done had she not pulled me to the side that day and told me that.
Wow, I think that's powerful. I think that's so true. I'm a living witness of it. When you go outside your marriage, people do not forget it. And they will tell you, you remember when your husband did this? And I'll be like, man, that was 10 years ago. I forgot all about that. I actually have had that to happen to me. Somebody that I was going through a moment and I decided to share something with them. And 10 years later, they brought it to my attention. And I'm like, man, you remember that? Because I don't even remember it. And it's my husband. And so I think that was the turning point for me to know, hey, girl, what goes on in your marriage needs to stay in your marriage.
Right.
So I think that is good information for anybody that's in the BW circle who is newly married or has been married for years and still do not practice keeping home in the house or what happens in the marriage. So I totally agree with that. And so any last thoughts or comments that you want to make to the BW circle before we close out?
Yes. Spend time with your husband. Have, you know, everybody needs their time. And my husband allows me that me time. He has that me time. But then there are things that we have that are in common that is our time. So for us, over the years, we've become bike riders. And so that's our thing that we do together. And it's just fun. It's healthy. And it's just our time to be together. And so we love spending that time together. And so I think that's just important to always date your spouse.
Yes, I think that's very important to date your spouse and to actually schedule dates. I know for my husband and I, before the whole Corona pandemic, every Sunday was our date day. Monday through Friday, we give to our jobs. On Sabbath, we give to the Lord. But on Sunday, we actually scheduled that time for each other, and we do not waver from it. So I think dating is so important. And so, Takeitha, because I don't want this video to be long, I'm going to end it. But my friend, I thank you so much for being a part of the BW Virtual Talk. I hope and pray that you be a part of the topic again. This month, we're talking about relationships. And so I had to have you on because I know you and we discuss marriage a lot. And so I really wanted your input at the table. And for that, my friend, I thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.